Include Wim Hofkens, a versatile Dutchman who was suspended from the first meeting, but it's a team under some criticism after 4 defeats in their last 5 games. Their Yugoslav coach Tomislav Ivic, a practitioner of such defensive football that at times he picks his teams without any recognised strikers. He's brought 2 forwards into this lineup: Kenneth Brüller, a Danish international, at number 11, and the number 9, Willy Hertz. Hertz is Anderlecht's top scorer with 16 goals, but he's been saying this week that he's quitting the club because he's been left out of the side too often. After a weekend of injury scares, it's the same Aston Villa side that took part in the first leg. Centre-half Ken McNaught, though, plays with a precautionary strapping on his left ankle. And in midfield, Des Bremner has had to overcome a painful neck injury, caused of all things by an afternoon nap on his sofa at home. Tonight's officials are all from Czechoslovakia, the referee Dusan Truknak. And it's Aston Villa then who will kick off. But quite a task for them here. 90 minutes away from a place in the European Cup finals, leading by 1-0 from the first leg. Anderlecht in all white tonight, their goalkeeper Jackie Muneron. The Villa party have been very impressed with the pitch, and there's a crowd of around 38,000, and there should be plenty of atmosphere in what is a tight English-style ground. Starting it on, Brüller chasing, and how Villa needed the intervention of Alan Evans as Rimmer stayed on the line. But it was a useful header from Willy Hertz, who looks to make contact with a long throw, but it's McNaught who gets distance into his header. And the feet were high by Cowans, and it's another free kick. It's Anderlecht's 22nd season in European competition, their 18th in succession. Verkauteren curls it in, and Hertz backheads it wide, although he feels he might have had a corner. But the decision is a goal kick. But a teasing ball in by Frankie Verkauteren from the free kick. Mortimer beating Lozano, helped out by Bremner. Cowans playing it forward quickly, and Morley had stayed onside. Lozano looking for Brüller. Hertz is in the middle for Anderlecht. Here's Verkauteren. Swain happy to get the ball to the safety of the touchline. And a foul, this time by McNaught. And there's no doubt about the level of commitment from Aston Villa tonight. Well aware of the responsibilities not only to their own supporters, but to English football as well. But they've left Brüller here. Scrambled away by Williams. Cook with the throw. Lozano. Now De Graaf. And this is Hofkens. Allowed to get the shot in. And maybe that was what Tony Barton was worried about. His midfield players not quite getting tight enough on their opposite numbers. Hofkens really could have been expected to be closed down a little quicker. Skillfully guided down by Peter With and played on first time by Bremner for Shaw to chase. Chase, in fact, in vain. And although Villa's priorities are to be tight defensively, they are looking to be aware of any possibilities of a counter-attack. They might take this tie beyond Anderlecht's reach. Druller chasing, and Evans has to concede the corner. All coming from the long kick from Muneron. Druller was Anderlecht's top scorer last season with 22 goals. He's not been so effective this season. Peruzovic is forward at the corner. And the Grafe there, the blonde figure on the near post. Finally hooked clear by Swain. And laid off well by Gary Shaw for Morley. Stopped by Juan Lozano. But the pass doesn't match the quality of the tackle. And the header by Bros. And here's Wyd, and Muneron loses possession, and no foul was given. And Aston Villa get a corner as Anderlecht reacted tentatively in front of Jackie Muneron. First with a header from Bros. McNaught is forward. And there are problems behind Rimmer's goal involving Aston Villa supporters. I must say it's a non-segregated part of the ground as the game goes on. And the shot from Lozano at the end of a fiercely determined run passes just wide. Villa let Lozano run a long way here as he took it up from Ludo Cook and took on the Villa defence on his own. Rimmer dived, but it wasn't necessary. But a lot of the attention is switched to the incidents behind that right-hand goal where the police are in with their riot weapons. There were problems before the game started. And play goes on very much in the shadow at the moment of incidents off the field. But here's Cook. And indeed it's on the field now as Villa shoots over, but surely the referee had called a halt because the problems behind that goal have spilt from the terraces onto the field of play. The police, who have gone in some numbers, and the match at the moment cannot restart. And out of your picture, Jimmy Rimmer has gone into the crowd to try and help in the calming down operation. He's back on the field of play now. Possible, of course, to say who started it. And now extra troops are being called for. Well, a stoppage of something like 7 minutes for the crowd disturbance. So away we go again. And one can at last concentrate again on the football. Here's With, and now Shaw. Counts. Williams looking to free Morley, but the pass screwing out of play. Lozano, the player who slipped. This is Mortimer, and a foul by Brulla. Forward then from McNaught, looking for Evans, and here's Wynn. It's off the line by the Grace, but the linesman was flagging. And Peter Wynn can reflect that the skirmish was in the end irrelevant when the ball seemed to drop at his feet so close to goal, but the flag, you just saw it there, was up for offside. McNaught making Swain turn, giving away the throw. But the police now have restored order. With wanted a free kick. The referee looked to play an advantage, and the advantage was in Morley's favour, who was then fouled himself. Villa again will wait until McNaught and Evans join With beyond the far post. It's played in for Gary Shaw. And it was Evans who was coming in. Villa want a corner, but they're not going to get it. And Cook was on the receiving end. But what a good turn and cross by Gary Shaw, committing the goalkeeper beyond the far post for Evans, who collided with Cook. And finally the whistle goes for half-time with some 5 minutes added on. It's been a strange first half, marred of course by that lengthy stoppage for trouble within the crowd. But a first half that's gone according to plan for Aston Villa. No goals, which means they still lead 1-0 on aggregate, and we'll be back with the second half right after the break. So away we go for the second half. Villa have frustrated Anderlecht in midfield, and particularly down the flanks as well. Gives chase. Peruzovic covering. Morley is there as well, but I think Peter Wood was guilty of just catching the heels of Peruzovic. It's Villa's throw. So revitalised under Tony Barton. They've lost only 3 of 16 games since he took over from Ron Saunders, initially as a caretaker manager. And indeed, since he's been appointed to the job on a permanent basis, Villa have won all their games. It remains 0-0 here, and the goal from Blake remains the decisive factor. With. And it must be said that the better chances in this second leg have come Aston Villa's way, and With, and Muniron needs to be sure with his handling. Mortimer. And here's Freeman. Brilla. De Graaf has to play it back. Muneron will want to send it forward quickly, and Evans will want to keep alert at the back for Villa. And he makes the header. Cook for Couteran. A touch from Gary Shaw. Now Bremner. And Bremner again. Villa could sew it up here with Shaw. It's too high. But Anderlecht caught, pushing forward. And Des Bremner, who's certainly done his share of the defensive burden, still with the energy to get forward and find Shaw with the cross. Shaw hit it first time, but couldn't keep it down. Lozano. Problems here for Aston Villa. Jovanic. Blocked heroically by McNaught. And then Williams stepped in. And Wood still full of running. Peruzovic. Lozano has to scamper. Anderlecht want a corner and they've got it. And there's a Villa player down injured, which will delay the taking of the corner. Alan Evans slowly getting to his feet. For Couteran then with the corner. And it's gone out of play. And curved back into play, in fact, but the linesman had spotted it. Jimmy Rimmer with 4 consecutive clean sheets going into tonight's game, and 7 minutes away from a 5th. Morley with ahead of him, Shaw to his left. In from Shaw, and with deflected by Cook. How well Peter With has baffled, and so deserved the goal here with a well-struck header, but it took a touch off Cook, and that took it over the bar. Cowans with the corner. In goes McNaught. Couteran will let it run. And Anderlecht will look to take the goal kick quickly. It looked as though the ball was moving as Muneron took it. Tony Barton in the centre of the Villa bench there, knowing his side are so close now. Evans getting more height than distance into the clearance. Cook nods it back. Here's Lozano. And Bremner for the umpteenth time makes a challenge that epitomises Villa's performance and Aston Villa's triumph here in their first season in the European Cup. They're through to the final, and Tony Barton has the opportunity in his first full month as the confirmed manager to be bracketed with the likes of Jock Stein, Sir Matt Busby, Bob Paisley and Brian Clough. Aston Villa were aware of their responsibilities to English football to follow Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, and they will represent England in Rotterdam on May the 26th. The game here finishing goalless, but that goal by Tony Morley in the first leg is enough to take Aston Villa through the semi-final. The occasion, of course, marred by the trouble in the crowd.
Good evening. The goals that spelt victory for British clubs in European Cup finals. Celtic set the trend in 1967, Manchester United caught on to the idea in '68, and after a barren 9 years and right up to date, Liverpool and Nottingham Forest have imposed a winning stranglehold on that trophy. Will Aston Villa make it the 8th British win and 6th in succession? Bayern Munich stand in their way, themselves 3 times winners and in succession 74 to 76. We have live coverage of the entire game from the Feyenoord Stadium in Rotterdam, and we shall be joining our commentator Brian Moore and Brian Clough in plenty of time to savour the occasion and prepare for the action. Our sincere hope is that Aston Villa are not distracted from their task by irresponsible support. Thousands of Villa fans have made the trip to Rotterdam. The precautions taken to counter crowd violence are important, with a significant police presence, promise of severe punishment and barbed wire fencing to contain trouble. And I'm happy to say that it's all quiet at the moment. Jimmy Greaves and Manchester United manager Ron Atkinson, 2 of ITV's World Cup squad, are with me to assess the game and give us their thoughts at half and full time. As I say, Brian Clough, who knows all about European Cup success, is in Rotterdam, and he, with the Villa manager Tony Barton, who's been thrust unexpectedly into this arena, are on the pitch talking now to Gary Newborn.
Well, Brian Clough, you've been in 2 successful European Cup finals. What advice have you got at this very moment for Tony Barton?
I've got no advice at all for him. He knows what to do, what he's got to do. But as they say in the business, if you can't play on that out there, you can't play at all.
That's true, actually. That was the first thing the lads said last night when we looked at the pitch. They looked at the stadium, they looked at the pitch. They said, if we can't play on this, then we can't do it.
Marvellous atmosphere here for Tony and the boys to play. What is it like to play in a European Cup final? What's ahead of Tony and the team for the next 90 minutes?
Well, we obviously a lot of tension and a lot of heartache, but eventually a lot of success, we hope. We've all got our fingers crossed for him. We're all rooting for him and the lads. I've never seen a lot so relaxed in my life when they walked out. Unbelievable.
Are you that relaxed?
Yeah, I think this has been the whole basis of our build-up, Gary, is trying to get them relaxed, and even the younger lads, who you tend to worry about a little bit, have been tremendous, and they've really enjoyed it, and I think it's a matter of holding them back more than letting them go, really.
In this marvellous stadium, Tony, is there anything really that you're wondering that you don't know about that you'd like to ask Brian, who's been through this twice?
Well, I mean, Brian's done it all before. He knows exactly what's at the end of it. I've yet to see what's at the end of it, and as Brian says, I hope that at the end of it we're all celebrating.
Gary, just a little second. What he's got to guard against is the last 10 minutes in the dressing room not to tighten up, because that's the time. He doesn't want to leave any, tension in there. He wants to get rid of it before he comes out of it, because there's nothing drains you more physically than tension.
That's fair advice, and I appreciate that, and that's something we'll certainly be thinking
If it means you getting in and buying him a beer, get in.
So after that tongue-in-cheek advice then from Cloughie, let's get a view of those favourites, Bayern, and who better to give it than their skipper who played in the 1974 European Cup final, Paul Breitner.
We saw Aston Villa 2 times playing Anderlecht on TV, and be for us harder to win against Aston Villa than to win against Liverpool at the moment. I think so.
People will be surprised about that in England. Why do you think that?
I think that because Aston Villa doesn't play an English football like we know English football, like it does Liverpool or Nottingham. I think Aston Villa is playing a European style of football, a much more modern style of football than the other English teams.
So the view of Paul Breitner about Aston Villa, and in a couple of minutes we shall be ready to go live to Rotterdam for the 1982 European Cup final, Aston Villa versus Bayern Munich, right after the break. Welcome back to ITV's exclusive coverage of the 1982 European Cup final between Bayern Munich and Aston Villa. The players are not yet out on the pitch in Rotterdam, so we've time for a brief view from each of our experts. Jimmy, first of all, you've seen a lot of Villa this season. Are you confident about their chances?
Yes, I am. Highly confident, actually, Dickie, especially if Mr. Des Bremner can get hold of Mr. Breitner a little bit earlier. I think that's one of the important things that's got to happen.
Right.
Breitner's got to be controlled.
Right, let's have a quick word from Ron Atkinson, the Manchester United manager. Mr. Breitner seems to think that they play continental football, the Villa side.
Yes, I think he's in for a shock tonight, particularly if they start loading in quite a few high balls at With. Peter With seems to have had an excellent European tournament, and I would look for him today to be the key player. I would think if they can hit him with high balls into the box and Shaw supports the way he does, they've got a very, very good chance of upsetting Bayern tonight.
Jimmy, let's come back to you because it is known that Bayern have conceded quite a few goals as well as scoring quite a few. And certainly Morley and Peter With, as Ron has said, and Tony Morley have class enough to expose any susceptibilities there, haven't they?
Oh, without doubt. I don't think Bayern's defence is that good. I'd like to see Peter With tickle the goalkeeper's ribs with his elbow very early on in the game, because you know how rattled they can get about that. And generally upset the defence in general, and then allow Morley and Shaw to cash in with their skills.
Right, well, our thoughts are now with Aston Villa as they come out onto the